Hello everyone, nubkeks here, welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video we're going to do a hopefully relatively quick update on both my legendary tier list and my mythical tier list. It's probably enough for a video. I'll do an epic tier list update as well, because I think there has been a few new epics. Maybe I'll throw in a rare tier list update too. We got some Argonite rares, we'll see. To be honest, I'm not going to do them in this video because I need to put in some time to practice a bit more with those rares and the epics, but let's go. Let's look at the mythic tier list first, and you can compare the old version of the list to the new version, and these are the changes and where I am at right now. So the big one is that Sabrael, or however, Sabrael, I don't know how you say her name, but she's in the list. I'm putting her as one of the best mythicals in the entire game. She's absolutely insane for Arena. I have a whole video testing her. It might be out tomorrow, actually. I tried her in like a speed build, which is like incredible utility. The damage is not crazy, but it's okay. It's decent. And then full damage build, where the damage is insane and the utility is still insane, but you don't have the go first lockout potential, obviously, because you're not, building massive speed. But she is ridiculously good for PvP, ridiculously good against the current meta. She's sort of... it's almost designed to counter Solinar, Bayek, like everyone. That's good. She's insane. She's good affinity against both of the top revivers. She is ridiculous. Other changes, I've moved Garol up to S+. I've been really impressed with Garol. Just a very survivable, huge damage machine in all content. Really, really strong. I've put Carnage up to S+ as well. I just think he deserves it. I'm a massive Carnage fan. The more I use Carnage, the more I love him. And I think with more and more power creep in the game, to be honest, his block passives, block actives, which can't be removed and he can spread around, the more champions with broken passives and active skills they add into the game, the better the dude gets, right? And nobody can deal with it, right? Nobody can remove those protected debuffs. So yeah, I'm putting him in S+. I think he's insane. Then we come to the negatives. So first of all, some watch list ones. So Siegfried, I would say, is on the watch list, perhaps to move down. Now, he is an absolute monster. Speed farms the hell out of PvE content. However, in PvP content, Mercurial set really messes the dude up, right? Like, he does his massive A3, which is sort of his big thing. It hits the total guard stack and it does nothing. That does hurt him, but I'm leaving him S+ for now. I've seen him have some pretty good success in Mercurial gear himself. I think he's still a menace. He's still good for PvE. So I've just put him as a little watch list thing here. I am still happy keeping him in S+, but I do think he's not the best mythical in the game that he was at one point anymore, I don't think. I've moved Nell and Commodus down. Yeah, I think Commodus, similar to Siegfried, was like the big I one-shot your team thing. Again, like Siegfried, he really suffers against Mercurial, and he's not really particularly useful for any PvE content. So I think Commodus is falling down. I think it's very difficult. He might even need to move down. I don't know. It's hard. Should he move down more? Possibly. I just think it's difficult to actually pick him in a fight, because what if they do have Mercurial and then he's useless, almost useless, right? Not quite. That's perhaps an exaggeration, but I think it's very scary to pick him now, because yeah, he's bad affinity against the top revivers and a lot of the force damage dealers. What if they have total guard? You're really in trouble. Nell's a similar thing. I've moved her down a bit because, again, she's very bad against Mercurial, so I think it's about time to move her down. Remember, guys, these are still S tier. These are still stupidly good champions, right? They're still stupidly good, but I think the fact that both of these champions are pretty bad against Mercurial, I think it's fair to move them down. I've got Arakoa marked with a watch list. I think she's very cool. I think she's an amazing enemy max HP damage dealer for any PvE content. And then I think she's an amazing multi-hit champion for PvP in the total guard stuff. Haven't really seen her being used by anyone except me, so I have her on the watch list. But I think she's better than people think she is. And I think if, Newt and Marius and stuff like that are high up in the legendary tier list, then she needs to be proportionately high up in the mythical tier. I think if I give Newt an S tier, and she's literally a better enemy max HP damage dealer than Newt in most content, but putting her below S tier is just silly, so I'm keeping her there. I think, yeah, I really think people are... I'd love to see more content on this mythical. Kind of sucks. Then we come to the A tier here. So Mina has gone down. compared to where I had placed her initially. I'd initially put her in A+. I have moved her down. I've moved a few people down here, I think, just to make it a bit more clear as to what's going on. With the B+ tier, they're still useful, right? They're still better than most champs in the game, but you know, they might not be very useful. Like, they might not be crazy useful for your account. They might not stand out compared to your legendaries. A tier is like, you know, they're like a pretty darn good legendary. They're a decent mythical. They've got a place, but they're not a must-use sort of champion. I think Mina is like that. Mina is a PvP specialist, but unfortunately she doesn't fit the meta. I think the big thing for me is when you compare Mina and Sabrael, the two most recent mythicals, right? I think they're both PvP specialists. It feels like Sabrael was designed 1 week ago, because she just counters everything in the meta. She is so meta, it's disgusting. And then Mina feels like she was designed about 3 years ago. You know, like 2 PvP mythicals back to back. One absolutely suited to the meta, hitting through Mercurial, Stone Skin, bringing Lockout, great affinity. And then you've got Mina, and it's like she's just terrible against the meta. Doesn't fit at all. So yeah, I'm leaving her in A tier. I think, obviously, again, this is a fairly end game perspective. I'm trying to keep it open to everybody, but you know, if you're very early game, she's going to be absolutely insane. She's certainly very useful. She is a mythical, but yeah, I'm maybe being a bit, to be honest, maybe being a bit no, I think Corrosa, she's got the full buff steal AoE nuke. She does have a triple hit A1. I think she could be cool in Mercurial, though I think she'd lack damage in her alternate form, but it's something. We'll leave her there. You know, maybe I should put her on the watch list to move down. I wouldn't be surprised if she got a buff at some point. And yeah, I've put Alaz and I've put Aphidus down. I have both of these champions now. And to be honest, I think Alaz, he's decent. Maybe he should go back up. I've moved him down. I've put the mark. Maybe he should go back up. Maybe I'm being too harsh on him. Maybe with Mercurial, he's actually a bit better. Yeah, so perhaps I'm being harsh on Alaz. I just find that I'm not leaning towards picking him for PvP. Maybe when I get a Mercurial build or something, I will, but I'm not finding him to be all that useful. Like, he just sort of gets locked out and his alternate form is useless. Yeah, sort of my vibe on Alaz. And then Aphidus, I think, to be fair, Aphidus, I love Aphidus. You know, he's one of my favorites actually to play with. He's super fun. He's great, like AoE wave clear. But I think, to be fair, is he as generally useful as these A+ champions? I said no, not really. They are doing more that is more unique and more special, and they're opening up particularly PvE teams. Some of them are good for PvP as well. Yeah, Aphidus, he's good, but he probably doesn't quite deserve to be up there, I think. So that's where we are with the mythical tier list. I'm trying to keep it fairly balanced with the tiers as well. It's pretty top heavy, which is good. But yeah, there you go. Let me know your thoughts. That is broadly speaking where I'm at right now. But I mean, as you can see, even with no balance changes to these mythicals, you know, as we go month to month, I'll make small tweaks here and there as we go. Like I said, I don't really have an objection to moving Alaz up a tier, to be honest. I think that could work and maybe makes it a bit more of a stairs. I don't know. Doesn't really matter, but there we are. Now, for the legendary tier list, I don't think I've really changed anything at the bottom. I'm going to probably redo this tier list to make it a bit prettier as we go. I don't know. Yeah, and I need to revisit some of these champions. So I can actually tell you like some watch list stuff right now for me. I actually think Edward should probably go up. Maybe Pelops could go up as well. Cassandra B+ is probably fair enough, to be honest. I mean, yeah, it's probably fair enough. But yeah, I think Edward is definitely one I'm looking at to move up, and maybe Pelops. They've both turned out to be pretty useful to people, more useful even than I was thinking for Pelops. So yeah, but you can see the changes I've made. For the new champions, I'm putting Mavara, possibly S+ or S. Need to see her in action a bit more. I was extremely impressed with her, both in PvE and PvP, so a massive generalist. So I am thinking she goes like top tier for the legendaries. And I guess, have I marked it in the mythicals? Or did I not bother? No, so probably on the mythicals, like this would be S+ for legendaries would probably equal an S tier mythical. And this, I mean, it starts to get a little ridiculous when you're like S++. But you know, if you don't power creep the letterings and have like S+++, then if putting a mythical into A versus like B plus, people get really upset with the lower ranking. So you sort of have to power creep everything, or people get really upset with whatever you name tier number 4, regardless of the fact that tier number 4 doesn't change. Just regardless of what letter you put on it, people get upset. Anyway, bit of a tangent. Anyway, I think Mavara is likely to be in. I think she's going to be incredible. I'm expecting she's one of the best legendaries, I think, in the game from my take on it. I think the new Lizard Poison guy, I haven't tested these yet, so this is what I'm doing. Any new champions, I'm going to leave them on this right-hand side, which is pending testing and, seeing more players use them and seeing what people can do. I think the Poison Lizard guy is looking pretty good. I think he looks like a great damage dealer. My only concern is, does he have that many areas to excel in the game as a poison damage dealer? But he looks fantastic. So I'm leaning towards a pretty high ranking for him. So I can... CVC tournament, I could bring them up. My game's really small, but Lizard Poison guy, I think he's looking pretty potent. He's looking cool. This guy, Knossos, is that his name? No, sorry. Fimo. I'm looking at a solid rating for him. I think he's like good AoE control plus shields. Turn meter pushback, turn meter depletion as well. For him, I think he's looking pretty good. Like probably A, sort of low-ish sort of A. I'm leaning towards maybe with him. Maybe B+, but I think he's going to be very helpful for people. Like AoE stun, shielding, seems solid, useful. Not a blow your mind out champ, but just a solid one. These two, I think, are B+, maybe A. I'm very curious about, well, let's touch on this guy first. Noson. I think he's a force damage dealer, mostly an arena specialist. He looks okay, but not too insane. Have to see his damage. His damage will really switch it, so I'm not sure. If his damage is mediocre, you'll probably give him like B+. Be like, okay, he's a decent damage dealer. I think it's fairly easy to get Empress, so it's fairly easy to have a force affinity HP damage dealer compared to other stuff in the game. Like it doesn't take a crazy amount of time to get Empress, a few months. And it's guaranteed, right? It's not too bad. So he is sort of competing a bit with the gear in that sense. Would you prefer to have more variety? Perhaps. But yeah, I think he's coming in with control, counter-attacking. He can do some free A3s. If his damage is really good, he could be excellent. So really depends on his damage. I'm leaning towards him being a fairly average arena damage dealer is my expectation. HP damage dealers are often stupidly overpowered, like Nice, or they're kind of mediocre, like Shredder. They're like, okay, they're okay, but they're not too special. And yeah, then we've got this new Sylvan Watcher. My thoughts on this guy, I am curious about his pain link. He's got a decent pain link. I think other than that, he looks pretty B+, right? He's, debuff spreading everything, which is cool. He's giving your team some healing, which is cool. The pain link is pretty interesting, and I think counterattack with your highest crit damage ally is cool. I'm pretty sure he's going to be B+. So yeah, Noson, he might go higher. He depends on his damage. This guy, I'm pretty sure will be sort of a B+, like useful to have. In fact, let me, you know what? Let's not sit on the fence. Let's put him B+. Noson, I'm expecting him to be B+, but we'll see. And then Fimo, I'm expecting to be more like lower sort of A. So that's where we're at. I definitely need to revisit, I think particularly the damage dealers. I need to do like a full other pass on this and tweak some stuff because the game is changing so quickly. I might even do a video on that topic as well, guys. How fast the game is changing at the moment. Like, look at this S+ tier. Look at all these green arrows, right? So what have I done? I've moved up Naldwa. Might move her up more, to be honest. She's slightly better than I expected, to be honest, in practice on her own. And I think her plus Solinar is so disgusting. So, yeah. A+, I think, is sort of a fair general place for her right now. But arguably, Solinar makes her better. Like, just activating his always crits against everything is disgusting. It's super useful against Bi-X and stuff like that. So, yeah, A+, I think, is fair enough. She might move up. I've moved Donatello up. This was well-deserved. He was an A+. He's definitely an S-tier champ. Probably not S+. Like, S+ are pretty disgusting. I think S makes sense. This one is a spicy one. Might upset people. I've moved Newt down to S. I think, unfortunately, it just makes sense. I think we're getting such crazy power creep I think Newt, again, guys, S tier is a stupidly good champion, but I don't think he's that totally insane beyond other things. Like, for example, I think Marius is far stronger than Newt. And I think that should be reflected in the list, basically. So I'm putting Newt into S, and I think that's probably pretty fair, to be honest. So yeah, sorry. Then for the S plus, we got lots of new additions. Solinar into S plus, no surprise. He's obviously very weak against Lockout, but if you don't have Lockout, if they ban your Lockout, he's so disgusting if you don't have Lockout. So yeah, Bayek, amazing for both PvE and PvP. Admittedly, they brought out Solinar, Sabrael, the new Mythical, and Hecaton all to counter him, which is mad. But I think he's an S plus. He's really, really strong. I think he's turned out better than people expected, really. Hecaton, I'm putting him in S plus as well. He seems like just a monster damage dealer. Sort of turns everyone in your team into Newt. Spamming out stuns as well in PvP. He seems absolutely crazy. I'm putting Predator up in S plus. You know, YOLO, let's go. I picked Predator over picking Empress in PvP. You know, like the guy, he's insanely good. Neve might go down a bit, but I think she's very useful basically everywhere in the game for keeping your team alive. If they don't have an ignore block damage, it's like an I win button, you know, so it's kind of insane. And then Fabian, I think, definitely belongs in S plus, no question, with Mercurial Met and all of that. You know, Lockout is just becoming more and more important, even than it ever was before. Plus, as well, another thing that's boosted his powers. Look at what do the other 5 S plus editions, like these newer champions. I mean, Neve is newish. The others are extremely new. What do these new champions all have in common? They're not mythical. They're all very vulnerable to being locked out. So yeah, the increased skill cooldown is just really valuable. So that is where we are at. Let me know your thoughts. Like I said, I'll probably do a whole other pass through this. I might do it on a live stream or something. It's always good to get player feedback. The legendary tier list is quite difficult to manage because there's so many champions. And as I said, power creep these days is insane. Like at a quick glance, what would I say? I think Glycea could arguably move up after her her buff. I think she's really good anti-lockout. I think Togron probably should go up. Raglan, arguably with Mercurial, could go up. Yeah, it's hard to know. And like, arguably champions like Eilil are falling off a little bit as well. Possibly Gaspard should be up in the S. Like he's phenomenal, that sort of thing. Like I could definitely do a nice pass through. I think particularly for the damage, a nice pass through sort of everything would be cool to I'm sure we could tweak plenty of champions up or down a tier or two. But that is, yeah, that's where I'm at. You know what? Actually, while I'm here, fuck it, let's do it. Let's take Edward. I think Edward. I think I'm putting him into A. Let's go. Grab Edward. Let's put him up into the A tier. He definitely belongs in the A tier, 100%. He could possibly even make it into A plus, to be honest. I think I was too harsh on Edward. So it's interesting. Just a broad thought that I've been trying these champions, like Sabrael is a similar one, trying to do like the speed plus damage dealer hybrid champs. Same thing with Lazarius, leaning towards speed. It's such an intensive build. It's so difficult to actually build these, Sabrael to be, and Edward to be crazy fast for all their utility, but then to have enough damage to secure kills and stuff like that. It's really difficult to do that. And actually, when I come back and I try them in pure damage builds, often I found now, and I'm going to be bearing in mind moving forward, often going pure damage feels better. And I'm like, okay, okay, right. That can change a perspective on a champion. Instead of trying to do the Kraken build, even on my account, right, which is super end game, basically a whale account as well. Like, even on that, trying to do a Kraken build, it's like, it doesn't have perhaps always that full impact. I think Edward is a good example where just going a simpler, decent speed damage build, I think he's actually really good. So I am considering moving him up a good bit. He's been better than I expected. I think I was underestimating Edward, to be honest. I mean, he's not like an S tier champion, but he is really nice, right? Yeah, he is very, very useful. So maybe will I just do it? which one? I've lost the Edward cut. There he is. Let's put him on the borderline. But like I said, we've got to do a big pass on all these different champions and basically tweak them around a bunch. But there we go. Let me know what you think about it. Have I... oh, I've moved the whole thing by accident. There we go. Let's fix it. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Where are you at? That is where the list is for now. Yeah, both the lists. Give me your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.